All right, guys, so there Hey guys, Will and Basil here with Grayson Hobby. Today we're going to talk about the EV100 goggles that we received. These are an updated batch from the manufacturer. The first batch, they were having some issues. Supposedly they are ironed out now at this point. There's a couple different changes they've done. We'll go over that in the next few minutes here.
So these came out about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, but we waited on the video because we wanted to get the updated version and let you guys know there is an update.
There was a lot of delays, but I think in the end result, yeah, I think it paid off.
So we're also going to show you how to do the auto bind feature to any quad out there. We're also going to show you some tips on some settings with the Goggle OSD and some ideas on how to upgrade your antennas.
It's going to take you 2 minutes to say that.
You have one job.
I have one job. Okay, so what we have here is the EV100. This is a second batch production model.
Number 2.
So Eachine supposedly made a couple hardware changes in there. I believe it's something to do with the cropping of the video was wrong on the firmware, and maybe a couple other things. They didn't really give us a lot of detail on it, but they just said there was something about a chipset update or something like that. EV100, let's unbox this sucker.
Okay.
So we got this here.
Manual.
Manual there. A little microfiber or some kind of cloth to clean your lenses.
Or sunglasses.
The goggles themselves.
Okay.
And then 2 boxes in here. What we got? Okay, we got a USB cord. We got a Velcro strap. This is going to be for the battery. This USB cord actually is also a data cord because it uses for the firmware update, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is actually a data cable, so you could use it on your quad or on the goggles.
Okay, which sometimes you can't do that, right? Sometimes
yeah, a lot of the cords, traditionally all the Eachine cords have just been not data cords, but power cords to charge batteries and stuff like that. This one actually does data as well.
I never knew that there's a difference, but there is a difference.
Yeah, there's a data cable and a power cable for like Samsung phones.
But the data will charge. Charge won't do data.
Yes. 2 antennas, which are actually color matched, so if you get the black one, they'll be black antennas, but I think that's actually a nice little touch on the Eachine's part, even though that would have been nice to have like cloverleaf or something. But
we'll talk about that later, yep.
All right, and the last thing is the smart battery.
Why is it smart?
Well, it's got a little thing on the side if you push the button. One thing, guys, charge your batteries up before you use them. The goggles, traditionally, a lot of these goggles don't work very well when the battery's low, and most of the time they come at 1 bar. But make sure you charge up the battery before you use them, otherwise you might get weird stuff going on. The battery does charge to the USB port here, so this cord works for that. You just plug this into a battery backup computer or whatever to charge. If you got a power brick for your cell phone, stuff like that. Balance lead is not really a balance lead. This is a power lead for the aftermarket DVR module. So if you get an aftermarket DVR module for these things, then you would power that with these.
So I would not use that on my balance charger to charge?
Yeah, no, don't freak out that you don't have the little white lead in the middle for the balancing, because you're not using that. Don't use that to charge your batteries. Don't use that to charge your batteries. Use the USB port on the back of it because it's got a circuit for it.
Gotcha.
So that's that.
That's good to know.
This
right there.
again was the Velcro strap to secure it. So that's all the stuff that comes with it. Quick rundown of the goggles, just so you kind of have an idea of what's up. The manual, this awesome little piece of paper, has these words inside there that tell you a lot of the stuff. Channel up and down buttons right here. That's similar to like a FatShark goggle. If you push and hold the button for a couple seconds, it will change the band instead of the channel. So you change up or down on the bands by holding it or just tapping it for the channel. And it's going to have up to 72 channels, so it's got several bands as well as channels, and 8 channels per band. The toggle switch here is your brightness and contrast, depending on if you go left or right, forward or back. When you first power it up, if you push and hold it, the first beep, that's what they call racing mode, and there's 3 different racing modes, 4, 6, or 8. Basically, it's preset spread of channels between the bands. That way, people are spread apart on a band so they don't swamp each other when they're flying. So if you're new at it and you want to fly multiple people, it's an option for that. Realistically, I would say look at a chart, look at the numbers, and just make sure you're 80 or so apart. The next thing, push and hold it twice. It's the second beep. You'll hear it clicking or beeping like that. This is the auto search function, so that's going to give you the ability to search for a quad. So it'll go through up to 72 channels. So it's going to go through all the channels, and then it'll stop, and then it'll lock on the channel. I like to actually, once I lock the channel, I unplug it and then plug it back in just to make sure it stayed on that channel. It's supposed to save the last channel that it was in. So that's just something I do. You don't have to do it, but a couple of people reported they got like fuzzy video when they first got it locked, and then unplugging and power cycling actually made it go away and make it On the side of this thing, you have a USB port here. The USB port does two things. If there's any firmware updates, which I think this is gonna be great because I really think this kind of goggles, with the popularity of it, I think we're gonna see aftermarket firmware and stuff like that possibly show up for this that really maximize the capability of the software, the hardware of the goggle. Battery's running low, or you can run it as a power source there. So if you have external battery backup or anything like that for your cell phone, you could plug it in there and power it up that way.
That's for the DVR part,
so,
right?
No, wait, on this side, we have the power plug where the battery actually plugs in here. And then we also have the AVN. It doubles for the DVR and the AVN. If you have an external receiver, like a ground station or anything like that, you can run that into there. Or if you have a DVR module, you can plug it in there.
All right. So I know you said at the beginning this is version 1.1 or version 2.
It's a second batch. I don't know if there's an official version or what they've actually changed. Right. So I'm not going to call it a new version.
We'll call it
V1.1. The newest model.
Right. So is there anything physical? Can I?
Yeah. Right off the bat, one of the first things I noticed, the foam here. They actually went to a thinner foam. The original batch had a really thick, heavy-duty foam in the beginning, and then it was a dual density foam. They did away with that because I know myself and others included. Basically, we were ripping the foam off these suckers and buying FatShark foam to put on it. I actually took the foam off my FatSharks and put them right on it. Took a little finessing, but it was pretty close.
Okay.
Just because the foam was so thick, I couldn't get my eyes close enough to get it to really see the lens all the way. It made it look very small, like a tunnel.
Does it come with one or two sets of foam?
It only comes with the foam that's pre-installed, so I would probably recommend possibly picking up extra foam. That's the one thing I tear up on goggles. They tend to just wear out as the foam, so it's always probably a good idea to have a spare foam or so if you're going to be using these a lot. Other than that, I don't see any external modifications to it.
No numbers or anything like that on there?
No, there's no version number or anything.
And like I said earlier, the manufacturer said there was a chip update, but we don't know what updated. Does it be found a needle in a haystack?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what they might have changed.
But
at the bottom of this thing, you're going to find an on-off switch here. That's not to turn the goggles on or off. That's for the fan. This has a onboard fan to blow air over the lenses to keep them from fogging. So you got a fan there. And this is really where the EV100 kind of shines. It has not only does it have the sliders left and right for your IPD, which is your inner pupillary, we're going to say IPD. It has the sliders right here, so you can adjust it for your eyesight if your eyes are narrower or farther apart or offset, whatever. So you can space it out right so you can focus, so you get the alignment right. And then these two dials right here is something nobody else has done that I'm aware of, is actually adjust the magnification, essentially, or the correction of the lens. So if you have anything from like a -4 prescription to a +1, you should be able to adjust these to match your eyesight.
Really cool.
So that's awesome, because if one eye is stronger than the other, you can fine tune it there, instead of having to just run different inserts and all that.
So you're telling me the inside, the lens is moving up and down?
Yeah, it's adjusting the screen, the magnifying glass up and down.
And it's also going this way.
And left and right.
Cool.
This is the whole assembly is going left and right.
Okay.
That's to align it, so you would align it first and then you adjust the focus second.
Okay.
But that's great, because now if multiple people are using the goggles, it just takes a couple seconds to adjust versus having to pull the inserts out and change them and stuff like that.
Like binoculars.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly. One thing I do want to talk about is when you first power these up, there's an on-screen display that tells you your channel number on it, and the megahertz. It's these bright green letters, and it's bigger than like most of the OSDs that you're going to see on your quads and all that that's transmitting. And it's really annoying. So one thing, I don't know if a lot of people have talked about it, but the manual does say if you push and hold these buttons and then let go, the channel and band selection, if you push and hold them together and then let go, it turns off that OSD. So the channel's gone. You don't need that really. Once you set it, you're done with it. So you can turn that off. That's something I really recommend, just turning that off once you get the channel set.
Let's show everybody how to do auto scan.
All right, so the auto scan,
because this is really catered towards beginners.
Yeah, so if you got your antennas on, which if up close you shouldn't need them, but it'd probably pick up a better channel that way or closer. So the quad's gonna be there. This is a little SPC one we're getting to try. Plug it up, and it's powered up. So we're gonna turn on the goggles, and then we're gonna push and hold this button and wait for the second beep to let go. So you get your first beep, then your second beep, let go, and you'll hear it beeping. I don't know if you'll be able to pick that up, but it's gonna beep a whole bunch of times. And the speed at which it beeps can vary. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower. I don't know if it's just depends on what's in your environment or not.
All right, it's beeping stop. It looked like it caught something. I can barely see it, but it looks like it's focused.
Let's see here. Oh yeah, this happens to be band E channel 1, 5705 megahertz.
Okay, well
so, and that's where can you see it all in there?
I can just see it stopped getting.
So you can't actually focus in there?
No.
Okay. Well, and that's where I would push and hold the button and let go, and you heard the single beep, and now there's no more OS channel at the top telling me that. The battery's installed here. This little plug again is if you had a DVR module, so you're not going to use that. You can just tuck it in somewhere or whatever. The Velcro strap goes around the battery slot, and it's got a slot in the strap to mount the battery. And another thing to mention when you go to use them, there's a film inside here, the shipping film to keep the lenses from getting scratched on and shipping.
Oh, look at that.
So you're going to want to take that off before trying to fly because it might be kind of blurry. You might not get the focus in there. And so you can see.
So there's on the quad right there.
So you'll want to, so you can see it. So you can see there's a shipping film on it there.
Oh yeah, okay.
So you just want to peel those off. That way they're not.
That way it's clear.
Yeah.
Every video we shown, every product we shown, we get rid of those.
Yeah, the factory antennas, there's no magic in these white antennas here that are making them better than any other rubber ducky antenna. So realistically, I would probably still ditch these, get if you have Cloverleaf, either the Amways or newer one like the Emax Pagoda 2s. These are actually really nice. Make sure if you guys get antennas, wherever you get them, whoever you get them from, or if you already have them, you need RPSMA, not SMA, which is what FatShark and all that uses. You need the RPSMA, otherwise the pins they'll be on the wrong side. For example here, I'm just gonna put these two on. Now some guys are using patch antennas on one side and Cloverleaf on the other. I think again that's kind of more of an experimentation game for you.
Because it's it's the same receiver, so
yeah, it's the same receiver. It's really, I'm not sure if it's really going to benefit you that much to run a patch on one or the other. It's supposed to switch when it sees. I don't know. I'm not exactly a huge fan of this design. I think it would be better if it just had two receivers. But again, you're also talking a lot less money than what we're comparing it to. So you got to keep that in mind. This is a fraction of the price of a FatShark with an aftermarket module and all that, because most of the high-end FatSharks don't even come with a receiver module.
Right. So speaking of FatShark, I know everyone compared them to FatShark because they look like FatSharks.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's because they're a small style goggle.
Would you compare them to any FatShark?
I mean, price point, I think realistically, the only one these are trying to compete with is the teleporters. These are the Horizon Teleporter V4 or something like that.
Those are old. Yeah,
these are older, but there's a V5 now, but they really haven't changed much on them, other than, I think, the number of channels they take. Between these two, I think these are 200. These are, what, 150, 160? Yeah, no, there's no way you get me to wear teleporters again. I'm sorry. These are awful goggles. They have a bigger field of view, but they're so pixelated, I feel like I'm playing Pac-Man or something like that when I'm flying. If you're getting into it and your price point's under $200 with the antennas, accessories, etc., I think these are a good bargain. I do feel a lot of the reviews people are giving are based off Now, we're comparing a sub $200 goggle to a sub $200 goggle here.
And the Eachine wins in that one.
Eachine
right?
definitely wins in that regard. It's going to be hard to beat this kind of goggle for the money, for sure. Also, I think this is like a tinkerer's dream. If you're messing with electronics, there's so much out there. If you read all the articles and you don't care about warranties, because obviously you're going to avoid it with anything you do when you open these things up. But I think there's really a lot of tinkering potential with these. I think the unfair thing is people are comparing them to like the Dominator series goggles.
And how much are those?
These goggles, the base price was like $500. These are V2s.
And does it come with a module?
No, it didn't even come with a receiver. The receiver module's an aftermarket one because even the cheapest one's like $40 for these things. This is like an $80 module. So now you're over $500. Oh, and the foam falls apart. Oh, you got to get the inserts. If your vision sucks, then you got to buy the little inserts. They're like $20. Stuff like that.
That's another $100 right
yeah,
there.
I mean, these are really expensive, but it's one of those things. It's like, okay, do you want to buy basic golf clubs to go play golf for your first time, or do you want to go buy the same stuff Tiger Woods used to use, you know? Guys, so there you have it. That's the EV100 updated goggle.
We know we showed you one type of antenna upgrade, so comment below of the antenna you like, and you post and let everybody know your results, either the patch antenna, the stock antenna, the Amway antenna,
Basically, if you found a type of antenna match that seems to work really good for you, let us know. Works amazing. Let us know. We'll try it. See if we like it. We'll recommend it.
Definitely. Yep. And thanks for watching. And be sure to subscribe and comment below what you think about the antennas.
And remember, it's not a FatShark goggle. It's the poor man's FatShark.